Okay, I think because the reality is there are a lot of women who are managing on very low amounts of income, just the age pension, and that's about it. You can only stretch those dollars so far, but what obviously looking for ways that you can get as much value for that money as possible. It usually helps to, say, be paying your utilities monthly rather than quarterly, because it's those bigger bills and bigger chunks of money that create a lot of stress. And most of the utility providers now allow you to pay monthly. We've also seen a lot of the councils now allow you to pay your rates monthly. So trying to chunk down those bigger expenses into more manageable amounts is a good strategy to implement.
Great.
I think there's probably two categories here. There's women who perhaps have a couple of years prior to retirement, and there's some great legislation now called the Transition to Retirement Strategy that allows anybody who's reached the age at which they can start to access their super to structure their superannuation and their salary income in such a way that they minimise tax and they can build up their superannuation monies without having to actually find any extra dollars themselves. So if you've still got a little bit of time before you retire, that's a fantastic strategy, and it works for both higher and lower income earners, which is most unusual to see legislation that works across the board. If you're sort of at retirement, it's like, oh, it's a month away, or it's right there. There's obviously not a lot you can do to potentially maximise your retirement savings, but what you need to do is really start doing some planning out about how long is that money going to last, how do I need to structure myself to get the maximum age pension, and really start to have a bit of a loose plan. It doesn't have to be set in concrete, but a loose plan for what your retirement is going to look like. So for example, let's say you've got enough money theoretically to last you for 20 years, then you've already thought about, well, what are you going to do when that money runs out? And if you've got your own house, you could look at, say, a reverse mortgage, because by actually having a bit of a loose plan, it's easier to deal with. And not, okay, I've got enough money for 20 years, when that runs out, I've already decided I probably will use a reverse mortgage, and it takes away the stress, as opposed to going, how long is the money going to last? Can I buy this? Can't I buy that? So planning and giving yourself plenty of thinking time to think about the options, not jumping into any strategy too quickly till you've looked at it, turned it upside down, bid on it to make sure that it works. So planning and just exploring options are an important thing. Not really planning or not giving yourself enough time to plan. It's also getting over that hurdle, oh, I don't understand this, it's too technical. To be honest, it's the role of, if you're getting advice, for that person to put it in a framework that you can understand. It doesn't mean you necessarily have to become a tax guru or that you can suddenly start quoting back bits of legislation, but it's really important. This is working out what to do with your retirement savings is one of the biggest decisions that you will ever make. So you need to allow enough time. If you don't understand what's being recommended, say, look, I need you to explain this to me. Maybe I need a drawing, maybe I need pictures, maybe I need to put it down into little chunks and I just address one bit at a time. But it's really important that you understand what you are about to do with your retirement savings. Are you going to lock the money up? Are you going to have access to it? How much are you going to draw of that money? What sort of investment strategy you're going to have? How tolerant are you to your capital value going up or down? They're all things that you need to think about. And I always say to people when they come in and they're about to retire, you really probably ideally want about 12 months worth of planning and thinking and exploring prior to retirement. But if you haven't got that, then buy some time. There's always usually some holding options for your money. And I use the expression often to make haste slowly. There's a lot of pressure. I've got to get it all organised because I'm retiring in 3 weeks time, but the reality is you'll benefit from actually understanding and exploring what all the options are.